Okay, so this is the perfect slice of tres leches. It's extremely moist, like extremely, but it still holds its shape. So, because you don't want it soggy, and it has the perfect amount of whipped cream. And like I said, this is stabilized whipped cream, so it doesn't dissolve into the cake. And then we've got some cajeta or dulce de leche up here. This is the perfect tres leches cake. Hi everybody. So here's the cake I'm going to be using. All I did was I took a white box cake mix, any brand that you like, and I baked and cooled it last night. So this morning it's just room temperature and it's ready to go. I used a pan like this because it gives me quite a bit of space right here all around the edge so that it's nice and neat and clean, because we're going to be putting all that milk and whipped cream and placing it in the fridge. So use a pan that's going to give you a little bit of space. And now we're ready to start assembling. I'm just going to take a toothpick and I'm going to make little holes into my cake, and I'm spreading them apart about a square inch into all of the cake. So for the next step, I'm going to place my 3 milks, and I'm going to start with 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, 1 12-ounce can of the evaporated milk, and for the third milk, I'm using half a cup of heavy whipping cream. You can also use just regular milk if you don't have the heavy whipping cream. And we're going to give this a nice whisk, make sure it's well combined. I'm going to bring my cake back. And now we're going to pour the milk all over top. I'm going to set this aside and let it all soak in. Alright, so while the Tres Leches cake is soaking in all of that good milk, we're going to make the stabilized cream, and we're going to start by working with the gelatin. I took a 1/4 teaspoon of unflavored gelatin. I'm going to put that right into my bowl, and along with that I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of cold water. And we're going to let that bloom. I'm going to mix that up, and we're going to let it set for 5 minutes. I'll come back when that's set. Okay, so my gelatin is bloomed and it's absorbing that water. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place it in the microwave for about 20 seconds just to melt it. We don't want to make it really hot or anything, we're just going to melt it. Alright, so I'm ready to make the whipped cream, and I'm using what's left the rest of this container. And I'm going to start whipping it. Alright, so now that it looks like this, we're going to add 1/4 cup of confectioner's sugar and just a very small splash of vanilla, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And we're going to mix. Alright, so I'm almost sure that I overmixed it, but once I put my spatula in it, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look like I overmixed it. Okay, so the very last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my gelatin that we melted, but I waited until it's like lukewarm. It's not hot at all, it's actually kind of feels like room temperature, and that's when it's ready to go in here. If it's still hot, it's gonna ruin your whipped cream here. So the reason we stabilize it is because if we don't add this gelatin into the whipped cream, it's going to be regular whipped cream and it's going to soak into your cake and disappear. So we don't want that to happen. That's why we're adding the gelatin to the whipped cream. And we have to add it while we have this on, okay? Because otherwise it'll clump up. So as you can see, it hasn't quite soaked all of it in, but that's okay. I like mine really wet. If you liked it a little bit more dry, you can always add less milk. And this looks perfect to me. So this is how I like it. And we're gonna start placing the whipped cream on top. So when I first started making Tres Leches Cake, I made fresh whipped cream, placed it all on top, and I'm not sure if it was because the cake wasn't like super wet with all of the milks, but that whipped cream just soaked into the cake and it disappeared. And I thought it was so funny because I remembered placing the whipped cream on top of it and then it just kind of disappeared into the cake. It was so weird to me, and I didn't know why the bakeries had such pretty whipped cream on their Tres Leches cake, and it's because their whipped cream was stabilized with the gelatin. So now I know to make it like this. All right, we've got our beautiful homemade Tres Leches cake, and I just finished putting the whipped cream on top. Now this is optional, but I do like it. We're gonna put some of this caramel topping, or you can use cajeta. Just make sure it's the liquid kind, okay? Because the other one would be very hard to put on. This says dulce de leche caramel topping, so this is perfect because it's liquid enough to be able to drizzle on it. Let's turn it this way. So that is enough. So this is all to your preference. If you want to put some cajeta, you can put some pecans on it. You can put fruit, cherries. I mean, make this Tres Leches cake your own. Make it how your family likes it. This is just perfect for us. I'm actually going to place this in the refrigerator for about 3 hours just to make it cold. But it's pretty much done. If you want to go ahead and dig in, you can. I'm definitely going to cut a slice so you can see inside. But this is it right here. It's my grandpa's and my dad's favorite, so I'm really excited to give this to them. Well, I'm very happy to report that a group of people got into the cake and they said it was really delicious. So I'm about to get that slice right there and I'm going to serve it up on a plate. Okay, so this is the perfect slice of Tres Leches. It's extremely moist, like extremely, but it still holds its shape, so because you don't want it soggy, and it has the perfect amount of whipped cream, and like I said, this is stabilized whipped cream so it doesn't dissolve into the cake. And then we've got some cajeta or dulce de leche up here. This is the perfect Tres Leches cake. Look at that. And when I cut into it, it holds its shape, and see how that looks inside? It's perfect, in my opinion, I mean, because I'm the one that made it, but it comes out perfect. Whoa! I just dropped it! It comes out perfect every time. So you get the perfect bite. If you're looking to make tres leches, give this recipe a try. And of course, you can tweak it as you like, but I do suggest trying it like this for the first time. Even like, especially if it's your first time making tres leches, try it like this. It's just like the restaurants, like the bakeries. Super, super good. Oh my goodness. It's so good. And I just realized I did not take a picture for the thumbnail. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really enjoyed making this. Give it a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.